What is going on, brothers and sisters? Eric Rosen, astrologer here for Celestial Conversations from Chaos to Clarity. This is that weekly horoscope that I've been harping on to look at the major transits for the week ahead. This is for September 10th through September 17th, 2025. Before I get into what to really look for this week, if you want to book your own personal astrology reading, to go to that quantum field of creation and create your most badass fucking shit that you came here on planet Earth to do, it's time to book that fucking reading. Or, if you feel like you've got the clue of what to do, but you're feeling blocked, maybe book a healing session, hypnosis, breath work, shamanic energy work on a very high level to get people orchestrated in the direction that their soul's meant to go in. I want to say the big thing this week is that, it's the end of Virgo season, right? But it's a South Node Virgo. We're preparing for the eclipse that's going to be at the very end of Virgo. So it's like we're getting into like the most primo creative territory that we've ever been in, with every thought, with every behavior, with where we're putting our attention and focus. So we can't get like wishy-washy and distracted and going in all these different directions and all these like different things. Positive, negative, worry, stress, like even like good stuff that we're trying to create. We got to like really pick something and like really dial in and go, if the window was closing for the new earth creation and this freedom reality, which in some ways, in an illusionary sense, it could seem like that when Neptune does retrograde back into Pisces and also Uranus goes back into Taurus. And it's kind of like, it's cool because we're going to get resourced spiritually to keep building what we've already been building, but sort of like still revisiting like what's the skill, what's the spiritual understanding and mission, orientation, fixation to get over the darkness and see the positivity of what it is that we're creating, and that we can get over any of those blocks internally or externally in the world. There's a lot of freedom capacity, but it's like if that were that Indiana Jones door closing, what would be the big thing that we would bring in, And I think that's what we have to like look at. Like, what's that one big juicy thing that it's kind of like, like start this now, plant those seeds now, or continue that. Ideally, it's already been something that's already been birthed, created, but it's like taking it to that next step. It's not about waiting for permission from anyone either. We got Venus going to the end of Leo. It's like bring in that beautiful creative project. It's going to make a quincunx over to that Saturn. So it's kind of like, as long as it's got a heartbeat and you're being courageous and you're in integrity and you've got the vision down, like it can work, it can grow legs and actually happen, and creating that more dreamlike vision. Now, we are in between eclipses. And so with that North Node lunar eclipse in Pisces that we just had, just a reminder, it's like any unconscious fears, dilemmas, got to get over it. You have to be willing to let it all go. South Node Virgo season, this eclipse coming. It's a video game of life that we can play and become these quantum creators. But if we're trying to hold on to the old reality, we're trying to hold it all together, stress, anxiety, worry, because we're not surrendered. We're not having faith in like our spiritual divination of our soul, connected to the divine, connected to God, that's actually allows us to be inspired and actually do some really boundless, amazing things right now. And so this is really hard for people that feel like they're stuck making a buck, and like stuck in those realities of like, I have to trade this for that, and this like very mundane black and white reality. This is really about getting into the state of flow with our own beingness, the embodiment of the astrology, the human design, the gene keys, and just like knowing intuitively how to just be all the things that hopefully, ideally, we've been studying. And if you're new to the game, new to astrology or human design or gene keys, check them out, or maybe book a session with me. But like what I'm doing, where I'm taking people now, it's like, we've got to go like full quantum level embodiment. Because if it's like up here, that's like the anxiety positive stress that we think is good of like the Virgo energy, where it's like we think that if our mind's racing, we're thinking about all this stuff that we're gonna do, but then it's pulling us out of the present moment. So if you feel like you're someone right now that's like, waiting for the right moment, something to change, something to shift, something to become more perfect, the perfect system, the perfect day, the perfect week, perfect orchestration of things, just take a breath, take another one, exhale, and let the anxiety go, because ultimately the fear of not living in the present moment with this astrology, underneath all of it is that fear of death, that fear of endings. Saturn at the end of Pisces. Oh my God, what happens if the car goes over the guardrail and we go off the cliff? It's like, well, your soul's eternal. You move on, I did a freaking Bufu 5-MeO ceremony, and actually, it's one of those things where it's like, depending on how you administer it, it's like, you die, like it's an ego death, and it's like, oh my God, I'm in fucking heaven, and it's like, I thought I died, and it's kind of like, okay, well, I gotta deal with this, oh shit. So it's sort of like, how do we kind of face our deepest fears, but then as we feel and sense them, just because it seems real, it doesn't mean that it is, because that's the weird veil part of the Pisces energy. And so Saturn's almost there to be like, I've got you if you understand the spiritual game, if you understand how to play this reality. It's like you look over at the Virgo eclipse that's coming, and even just this week, even just with it being Virgo season in the South Node, even before or prior to this eclipse, it's building, building, building. It's like, I'm gonna break down the reality and shatter and splinter any illusion of thinking that you could go back to living in the Truman Show, or that there was another reboot to the Matrix coming. Get the fuck out now. It's gonna be the most chaotic times, even if it's just in the mind of people that still want to live in this old reality, just because they don't know how to cope with the new influx of energies that are coming in, that are activating us at a cellular level through all this, the astrology, the 3-eye atlas, you name it. There's a lot of divine energy coming in, and there has been, but we have to know how to plug into that and actually make sustenance of it too. And I think the way of doing that is that we have to remember, we were given a body, we were given a mind, we were given a soul to express through these means. And so it's when I look at this astrology, it's kind of well, what are we creating? Are we creating new stuff? Or are we just doing the same old stuff? And it's not that we abandon the path completely, or the things that we do for a living or relationships, and just be the person just I'm just gonna move here, very Jupiter in Cancer. I'm just gonna move and start over here, and no foundation, just going on the adventure type thing, when really it's about how do we root into the experience that we've been having in this incarnation, and actually start to make sense of it, and make the hard work finally pay off, and see that nothing got messed up, no matter what the circumstances or challenges are. Because I know some people, they got some shit going on right now. Other people maybe just feeling stuck, Pisces zone. It's the shit that always, it's like the fish flopping around out of water, and it's we try to ignore it, and then it dies, and then it stinks, and then it's it would have been better just to catch the flopping around fish in the subconscious that was making us all loopy, in this reality of the behaviors, the patterns, the phobias, the fears, all the stuff that we're just that's too sensitive, uncomfortable, I don't want to deal with that. And then we push it aside, but it's now it stinks, and the cleanup's worse. And so that's the hard part. It's you can feel the intense, there's a suffering to go through with it, But on the other side of that suffering is kind of like that, full surrender of like, all right, God, Goddess, I know you got me. I know you got me. And so it's like letting the angelics like take away the pain, the suffering, the stress, and kind of like whitewashing like the stuff from the past finally, and just any of the fears, the PTSD, and going, like, what the fuck? Just go do it. It's okay to do it scared. It's okay to do it not perfect. It's okay to do it, going like, well, I'm not sure what people will think. It's like, ideally, all that stuff just fades to the background, but I personally don't see this as like you got to show up perfect and have it like all together type thing. If anything, like there's more regality in being like this, I would call it being like a nomadic king or queen. It's like, you don't need the kingdom. You don't need all this shit. Like, we were fed a lie for at least the last 20 fucking years, of like, you need all this shit to like be regal or prosperous. It's like, you can prosper just by picking up the computer, the iPhone, the AI app, ChatGPT, and create some awesome, amazing shit, and burst some really amazing ideas. But it's like, there's still a lot of people that want to run the patterns of the old reality and just like consuming things for entertainment. It's like, there's a time and a place for that, but it's kind of like, it's not using Saturn to escape the reality or escape the responsibilities because it feels hard, and just like, just doing things like create the escape portal. It's more like, how do we build awesome, amazing stuff, and then be okay also honoring the human journey of like, okay, I was an awesome spiritual badass today, and I did these like really cool things, and I don't know if it's what's going to happen, but that's the great part about it. But I made this step and this step and this step, and it's like, I'm seeing where it goes. Not the stress or like worry of like, well, what do I got to do to like make sure I'm okay? It's like the whole lesson in this understanding that's been building with Uranus and Taurus since 2018, that knows it's going to retrograde back there, is like the solid embodiment state of like, and this has been coming up for years. It's like, we have to regulate our central nervous system. We have to know how to own that within ourselves to like actually get the spiritual downloads and to express and be. And so it's this really awesome, amazing thing where it's like, we don't have to like worry about the like exact, like, where's it all going and the control and the outcome. It's more about, I'm going to be okay if I just get inspired and I embody who the fuck I am and I put it out there, like good things are going to happen. It's like the fortune that favors the bold concept creation of things. And so we're all being asked to become creator gods, like through these eclipse portals. And, it's not about the perfect polished nature of it, of like ever slipping and going, oh shit, I was in this, in the sixth dimension, and I was like doing all this stuff and I felt good, but then I got stressed or I got scared over this thing. Okay, cool, whatever. Like, part of the journey, part of being human. You fall and then you go, okay, like, well, I've seen it so much shit happen since, you could go all the way back to 2012 if you wanted to in life and go, well, I figured it out, like I was okay, so like, this is like kind of like, it's even higher than mastery. It's almost like a spiritual nonchalance of like, I'm not even going to give that my focus or attention or trip out. And that might be the weirdest fucking thing, because when it's a South Node Virgo eclipse that's coming, all this Virgo energy, it could be like that we're letting ourselves down, or we're letting something down about our reality of the way that we've tried to hold it together, that we think that it should go. And the reality is that that doesn't need to be done. Like, we're not letting anything down or letting ourselves down. Like, we don't have to self-sabotage either, and like like push it all down and be like, well, I'm just not going to like do anything. It's all good, like someone will come and save me. Jesus is coming to save me. Like, it's okay. It's like the fucking book of Revelations. It's all going to shit anyway. And it's like, it's a paradigm shift for those that actually like want to show up for themselves. And so this could be like really triggering for those that like more so just like want the participation trophy, or just want to be in more of a support role, very South Node Virgo shit. It's more about living from the seat of your soul as a divine being, and understanding that good things happen, simply put, with this astrology, when it's like you're in your passion, you're in like what brings you joy, and you express it and you create with it. And it doesn't have to be like some big flashy thing. It could be working behind the scenes more often than not. Like it doesn't matter. What really matters is the frequency, the creation, and then eventually like bringing it to fruition to share with the world. So like for people that are, I would say like in a capacity of like doing the career like 9 to 5 thing, it's like, just remember there's other ways of like creation and passion. Like it doesn't always have to look like the exact thing of like making money or the exact thing of like the title, right? Like the creation can be in like how you show up and you're creating in community. The creation can be, with like a Jupiter and Cancer thing of like family. Like it could be a lot of other forms of creation, but what really matters is like, is the passion and the frequency there? Is the embodiment there? Because this is not the astrology to come from a place of fear or lack or scarcity or just like limping by. There's no spiritual Viagra in the cabinet. There's no lube in the cabinet that's like to help us like unfuck ourselves if we're like coming from this place of just like the mental plane only of existence of what our eyes show us. We have to be able to lean into more of this like heart understanding of like open heart courageousness, and even just our authority in human design, and just like leaning into this like who the fuck am I? I'm gonna be that, and I'm gonna go create that, right? And so, because the weird thing is like needing to be able to be okay with maybe not seeing it fully, but like feeling the stirring within and like bringing it into the physical from the ethers and bringing it into form and bringing it into that creation, instead of just like, well, my eyes are saying this about like this thing or this person or like this situation, because it's the negative feedback loop of South Node and Virgo that wants to keep us like in the loop, keep us like chasing this trail of fucking, our own, we'll just say it, personal tears, of like massacring our own well-being, our health, our central nervous system by constantly trying to fix every little thing. It's actually very limbic system reptilian programming shit. Like I will tell you, like I've fucking seen those reptilians like fucking show up and try to like fuck with me, and just like I've seen them show up with others, and it's just kind of like they're trying to have this like feeding frenzy and like kind of have like their last fucking meal because their number's up, because the light is winning so fucking hard. It's like, yes, is it a messy world reality? Yeah, but it's because it's almost as if God said in 2026 he was going to take Earth and just kind of like rip it in half like a phone book, like, I don't know, Hulk Hogan style or something, and go, people are just going to have to figure it out. They're going to have to figure out if there's something you want to connect with in this reality, a person, a place, or a thing. You're going to have to learn how to like write your own frequency, tune into your own vibration, that it's not something like, well, I can just go and just do this and this and this and this and this and this, and then it'll make it work. It's like, no, you're going to have to, we all have to learn how to like be the person that creates it. It's a lot of like the most intense self-reliance, like energy that we're building into. Because I mean, you think about it, these eclipses, I mean, they're happening here in September, which means that it's going to span into March. And so we'll see those eclipses in March where it's like, okay, well, that's the time frame when like we're going into the more full flip in 2026 of those outer planets, like more getting into those signs they're going to be in, especially Neptune, Uranus in Aries and Gemini respectively, especially by April. But it's like, so you almost like the weird vision that's like coming through. It's like there was a movie called Ready Player One. It was like the way the guy had to like win this race was like he had to like go backwards, and then he had to find like the underground way to like get past the obstacles. And that's almost like what we have to do a little bit is like there's so much like shit just like happening out there and the obstacles that we almost have to go backwards and connect to a more ancient part of ourselves. It's almost like whether it's like Atlantean or Lemurian, like this is the stuff that I connect people with like in sessions. It's like you have to connect with this like deeper innate spiritual sense of yourself to be your own fucking architect, to see that like this reality is actually easy once you see that it's a video game and that we're their creator and that we've played in more advanced realities if you're feeling this calling. And so it's like you go backwards, you connect with that energy, and it's just like a smooth sailing because it doesn't play any of the how, the what if, what about this thing, like you just fucking connect to that ancient understanding of yourself, and then you go and you fucking create it. It's like basic level spiritual embodiment of like, oh, like that's who I am. And then on the human level, right, like it's just self-acceptance. Like so the eclipses and Pisces and Virgos very much like there is no fucking purification or Bible or anything you could throw to be holier than thou and perfect and clean and white and linen and shit. Like we all have light, we all have shadow, and it really comes down to like kind of a radical, sensitive self-acceptance of the things from the past, the things that we've done, you know, the knowing that there's a potential of like repeating like patterns again or creating new karma or whatever, making new mistakes in the future, and that like it's not like a perfect arrival, and like being okay with that, you know, and not like calling that in like, you know, because that would almost be playing into like Bible religious stuff of like, well, you know, I'm a fucking sinner, so like let me just keep repeating that reality of that core self-belief, when it's like, no, we're eternal amazing beings, but we're also like the fucking can be the amoral animal beast, and you know, have our shadow and fucking, you know, use our free will to stunt our spiritual growth, but it doesn't make us any less awesome, doesn't make us any less holy. And so it's not about a bypass, it's more about going, okay, well, like just call it out, like call the lies out and be like, well, okay, I did that thing or I ran that pattern, I chose that. Not so much why did I do that, but it's more so like just like, can I live with the consequence? Be like, well, okay, I chose this frequency, I chose this thought, this behavior, and so like, well, this is like the timeline that I'm on, and I can't have the best life or be on the highest timeline if we're not operating in that quantum architect capacity, you know. And then just honoring that's like, well, I can't create my best stuff, create my best reality. And so anyone that's like got an idea or is like hesitant, you know, first of all, it's like reach out and book a reading, or it's like if you really want to go into like more, it's kind of a rough word, spirit, but they're saying it like hand-holding territory. It's kind of harsh, but it's like it is the guidance, you know, the guidance of the frequency alignment to like consistently put it in there. Obviously the private like container work that I do, the 3 and 6 month coaching healing containers, but then also there's the higher self group coaching where I'm going to be teaching the embodiment. That starts September 23rd. So reach out about that. But it's like, you know, if you have a thing that you want to do, it's like getting out of our own way to like go do it. It's like all that like hang up shit, like the stuff that it's like that smudge mark in the mirror that fucking we just like can't get off or don't bother to get off, or that part of our home that we just like don't bother to clean, or could even be that conversation, you know, that we don't like want to have. Like it's all the stuff that just like lingers. It's like deal with the lingering stuff, deal with the human stuff, deal with like, you know, the things that just like need to happen, and don't like let it turn into a mess. Because the problem like with avoiding the responsibility of like just the 3D reality part of it, like too, whether it's like from, you know, exhaustion, which, you know, it's good to rest during this time, right? It's eclipse season, you know, reflection, contemplation, but it's also like, I'd say it's like not pushing ourselves to like sleep or like rest like too hard, or because like we're feeling like too sensitive, when it's like there are times where we do need to fucking move our bodies and work out and be athletic and move some energy. It's like, so we do those things so that we can go into a space of creating those ultimate creations. Because otherwise, in the reality, the Virgo negative feedback is like, see, I can't be awesome. I can't do the thing, and my vibe's low because I don't feel good, you know? And it's like, I got all this like stuff to do. And it's like, well, you know, I think everyone's leftovers are gonna like different, taste different, smell different. Some stink, some's just like, oh, I gotta deal with that. It's like some people could still be in people pleasing land of like still taking responsibility for others and like wanting to like be helpful and supportive, but it's actually like causing stress. It could be, you know, people that still want to like live by a clock, live by a schedule, live by a routine, you know, and like that creates a sense of safety. So we have to kind of just look at it as like, whatever it is that thing that just kind of like the, ugh, you know, I like, man, I kind of need to change that. It's like, fucking change it. Like let the universe like show where the blocks and the delays are at of like not dealing with that thing, to have like the faith and commitment to take responsibility, make decisions, to go, okay, I'm gonna go deal with that thing now, because like, yeah, this sucks. This feels like suffering, like not dealing with it. So, you know, it's a really interesting time, because it's like the freedom to create the beauty of our own reality, but then also kind of like going like, well, but we still have a body, we still have to take care of our health, we still have like all these like little things to like take care of. And so it's like, that's why it's like, it's the willingness like that it can all fall apart, but then also like being smart and like knowing the difference between like letting go of the stress and having faith that it's okay to surrender and still show up to it, like convicted, committed. And the difference between that and like the sabotage of like going, well, you know, that doesn't feel good. I want to feel a certain way. I want to feel like 5D. I want to feel 8D. And it's kind of like, well, those things can ebb and flow, but it's not like chasing the frequency or chasing the high, because then it kind of like pulls us more out of our intuition. It pulls us out of our design and flow and capacity to create things, because now we're playing the human thing of like trying to avoid the suffering. And so it's like, in a weird way, it's like things are less stressful, there's less worry, there's less hassle by doing the thing that we know that our soul wants to do. And then, so it's like the weird thing of transcending the illusion of choice to even begin with. Like, you already know what you got to do. Like, just go do the awesome thing that your soul is calling to. So like, what is that thing for you? And if there's that ambiguity and there's like, I'm not sure, then I think that one, I would just even go back to like, what were the greatest light bulb moments the last 2 to 3 years that came through, and pick your poison there, because the poison's going to be going like, well, shit, why haven't I done that thing yet? And then having to like, kind of like, deal with that maybe shadow work of like the holding the self back. But unfortunately, for a lot of people, this could be like excuse land, like people just like making all the excuses of why they can't do something. For the entrepreneurs, the creatives, the business owners, I would look at this time as like, if you're on it and you know the vision and the creation, it's okay to rest. Don't like burn out. Like, there are new quantum ways to be that architect and that Atlantean understanding of like how to work with the quantum higher mind of creation to align things, to work in vibrational states, to work with our magnetism, to work through stress and fears and PTSD and traumas and just all the stuff. So it's like, it's okay to retrain the body to relax and like chill out during this time, because we don't want to like return to that beta wave state of like mental thinking and just like grinding, thinking like, oh God, if I could just get to this one place, like then it'll be okay, or this one thing to happen. It's like, let yourself receive. It's okay to receive abundance from the universe, the phone call that comes in easier, like the money that comes in easier, the insight, the idea, not like the, how do I like fucking CERN, like how do I smash particles together and try to like force it and create it, and then like people better like think it's awesome, and it's like, well, it's kind of like you just do it and put it out there because you love it, and then who cares how many people love it? It's going to resonate with someone, or if it doesn't, then whatever. You're creating your legacy. You're a man or woman out of time. You know what I mean? Like it's okay to like be a way shower. It's okay to go first. It's okay to do things that make people go, huh? Like what is that, or how's that valuable, or whatever? Who's got time for that? What the fuck ever, You got to go with what your soul is like called to do, because one of the downloads I got was like, we need to be looking at what does the world need 2 to 3 years from now, not now. Like, play it, be okay with playing the long game. Be okay with like hedging your bets on yourself of your own creations and your own vibration of happiness, and to see that like the illusion is over, for unless people still just have to choose that stressful reality of like, well, it has to be hard. Reality has to be hard. It has to be this, it has to be that. And it's like, well, can we just like rise to a higher vibration above that, where it's like, well, if we're just eternal beings and these souls and our higher selves and oversoul, but with this physical body, it's like, well, can I just like go above that and like work in that capacity? And the answer is yes. The answer is a resounding fuck yes. And so all the, distractions, distortions that can come up, this is where we have to like learn and know our own personal protocols, like whether it's like for grounding or detox or mental focus. Like it's developing structures that are innovative, which is something I help people do too, where it's like you just go into this space of helping yourself out to like be kind of calibrated into the frequency, and because then it takes it out of like the force and like this like work thing. Because like the thing about South Node Virgo eclipses, it can be like not renewing this, like, well, let me just launch immediately into the day or the routine or the work or the activity. It's kind of more like it's the North Node of Pisces. It's kind of like, is there a way to kind of like find the spiritual flow and connection within self that's very celestial, that feels very connected to the beingness, and then act accordingly from that soul space, instead of like waking up to a fucking alarm clock and be like, oh God, I got 5 minutes, I gotta like go to work or whatever, I grab my coffee and blah blah blah. And it's like, so many people live that way, but then they don't slow down long enough to examine their own patterns and the reality that they're creating and choosing. So like, we need space, you know, doesn't matter the time of the day, but it's like we need some type of like space for breaking up the constant doing and activities to actually like not so much assess our patterns from an over picky standpoint of like developing us to be the best version of ourselves. It's more like the acceptance of our own limitations, of our own thinking, and then to go, well, okay, what's the thought or the belief that's like creating this scenario that I'm choosing this, and go, okay, well, like, can I choose something else? Because that's the very Atlantean thing, is like to go, well, wait, like, let me run the experiment. Like, there's something else that I can choose. But then, you know, it's dropping in to see, does it resonate in our being, in our body, like through our human design? Because it just, we create less new hassle, new stress by like following through with that as the embodiment piece of truth, as opposed to like, well, let me just go over here and do all this stuff. So, you know, wild week, eclipse season. So let me pull a card for it. Yeah, reach out if you all need support during this time. Higher self group coaching, higher self rising group coaching, and astrology readings, of course, on deck. So the High Priestess card. So I want you to think about it like this. High Priestess to me is like that archetype that sits in Pisces on her throne, but it's like, it kind of is a little bit of a Saturn Pisces thing of like, it's got the structure, but it's got the intuition. So I think Saturn's playing a really important role this week. Saturn is that planet that rules the harvest, and Virgo's all about that harvest at the end of the summer seasons, from the historical understanding of things and how the seasons work. And so I think we have to actually really anchor into Saturn and kind of like be okay with like the trust and the faith and the surrender. Like, it's all going to be good. The Fool card, like, it's going to be okay. Like, it's not irresponsible to like follow our intuition and follow our inner knowing and follow our inner compass. Like, it leads us actually to the greener pastures. It isn't like trying to create, like, chase or create greener pastures. It's just kind of like well, duh, of course this is how like reality works. Like, you fucking vibe with yourself like in a capacity of truth, and then you go like with that, and like good things happen, and then you just create. Ace of Pentacles. So what's that ace up the sleeve thing that you want to create this week? If you're feeling blocked, if you need help, you're not sure what to create with that, reach out, book some time. Catch you all next time.